In this last time frame, I have been talking a lot about my future research, about what we can do for our healthcare in case everything breaks down. I've given already particular kind of reasons, a lot of them, and there's going to be more, and I'm going to be investigating different papers from other people about similar kind of topics or related topics, also to make sure that we have a really wide, comprehensive thing. This is all part of preparing for my research also. So I'm not the only one who finds this topic very interesting. I think all over the world, because of the huge amount of research topics already present in science as well as on the internet by preppers and all kind of other things, there are a huge amount of people interested in how to do these things. And the thing is that the things that are being presented internationally online are usually only for the rich and powerful. So there is nothing much for people like you and me who are, how do you say, at the bottom of the food chain. I think this is the nicest way to say it. I don't want to talk about particular classes of people or something like this, because nowadays you have more people with more money or people with less money than you have actually a particular kind of class, because norms have changed over time and shifted, and as a result that things have become mixed up. A lot of old concepts and terms, they don't really are valid anymore. In the I Ching classes, the I Ching counselor classes, I very often point out that there are basically two approaches to the world and to understanding where you have to go to. Namely, one is you have to pay attention to the past and you have to continue the past, or you have to pay attention to the past and you have to break with the past. And in this case, our modern case, we have to break with the past, because the way how our ancestors, and we are our ancestors also, how we are going on with things is definitely not working. And we have to be more radical about it. So that means we have to really start breaking with the past and do something else. And this healthcare project is to help us break with that past. It's not going to be a quick process, but it's going to be a gradual process. And it has to be a bottom-up process, because, we can't really rely on our governments to do very much. The kind of things that they stimulate have to do with votes or with the power of the ruling elites or anything like that. So that's not going to help. I do care about the fact if you are actually wanting to live in a better world than this one is at this moment, and how to improve on that. And that is something that we have to do socially, but we also have to do that personally. So in my online classes, we very often talk about topics that are related to that. And a recent topic was actually about ritual. Ritual also came up as a topic while I was visiting my students in different countries, and giving them specific classes on the practicalities of acupuncture, massage and so on. But the how and what of ritual is not very well known. And we're going to talk today about the different kind of things. And the first thing in relationship to ritual is to give you an explanation a little bit about what we're going to talk about. Namely, first of all, we're going to talk about our current situation and also what we understand about ritual and so on. Then we're going to talk about what we actually want from it. Why would we actually do ritual? What do we want to achieve, or what do we hope to achieve for it? And this channel, of course, the primary goal is to create a better health, right? So does ritual fit into the idea of better health? And then the third one is, why actually would ritual help us resolve a particular kind of conflict we are facing in our life? Well, of course, we have a lot of conflicts around us and we are creating continuously new conflicts. So ritualization, of course, is a very important part. And in Taoist psychology, ritualization is a core part of resolving individual internal conflicts, but also conflicts with our environment, no matter who is the reason for that conflict. Then we are going to talk about what and how we will change things at the moment when we are starting a process of ritualization in our life, like I have done years ago already. And I've seen all the positive benefits from that. And then we're going to talk about the results you can expect from this, the personality change. But if we do this en masse, how we also would create social change as a result of that. Because at the moment when everybody changes their behavior, the markets change. And we are still living in a market economy. That means that the market drives anything politically or socially or economically or environmentally forward or backwards, like in some countries right now, where people like to move backwards in the hope that they can catch up with the mistakes of the past by making them worse. This global government should be democratized in regions as well as in the larger scale, so that everybody has an influence on that process. That is a ritualization of society. So the first topic now that we're going to talk about, therefore, is what is ritual? Let me first start with a simple explanation. Something that I come across many times when I'm talking with people or reading papers. When people try to explain ritual, they say like, yeah, brushing your teeth every day, that's a ritual. No, that is not a ritual, that's a habit. And it becomes only a ritual because of your attitude. So at the moment when you are performing something on a regular basis, it is actually becoming a ritual because of the attitude that you have. So at the moment when you consciously perform a particular kind of action every day with a particular kind of purpose, then that becomes a ritual. And that is not just a matter of doing an action, but also having thoughts about it, about what you want with that action. So that means that doing a ritual is a particular kind of action, but it is also a particular set of thoughts that you have and a particular kind of programming that you build into yourself. So first you try to create the meditation platform, right? So it's like a square, right? In horizontal plane with whatever surface you want to include in there. Whether it's your room, your house, your city, your country, whatever, the world as a whole. Then you create with your fingers a lace. This lace is silver-colored light, basically, and that you embrace the whole holy space. So this is like you project it to be all around. And you create a golden dome that is going both above and below. So it's round, it's like a ball, right? So this ball creates the enclosed space in which your ritual takes place, and where you create a private space for you and a communication with whatever you want, so that nothing else except what you want can go in, right? Then at the moment when you do that, you create one hand. The yin hand is a wood hand, and then the fire hand on the other side. You burn the wood, and your fingers, they can, like smoke, they go around and they purify the place, and you also at the same time. So you're both purified. At the moment when you have done that, put 3 incense in front of you, and you put 2 candles in front of you. One on the left, one on the right. The one on the right is the yin candle, the one on the left is your yang candle. The yin candle on the right side is, when you light it up, you say, this is the yin fire of the prime origin. I like you to be present to manifest my wishes, my wants in reality. Then you light up the left one with a fire. You say, this is the yang fire of prime origin, and I want you to be here on my holy space to bring movement into the things that I want to manifest. And then you have these two. Then you burn the candle on the right side with your right hand. You move towards your altar, your heart, and you go out and you make the double yin-yang sign in both sides. This is just too easy. And you step with your feet hard on the floor. You say, it is opened, or it is started, or it is completed, something like this. Then at that moment you take the incense. You do the same ritual for the incense to purify the incense. And then you put it first in the yin fire or in the yang fire, depending what you want. If you want something to manifest, you first put it into the yang fire to help you generate the material for the manifestation. If you want things to move, you first do it in the yin, and then you do it in the yang. And you say on forehand, these are the 3 messengers. I want them to go to the 3 realms to make sure that all the 3 realms, the different beings in these realms, they ally with me to help me realize these important things. So you put it first in the one fire, then in the other fire. You make sure that the fire goes off, that you only have smoke left, right? The smoke is the messenger, right? Not the sticks. The smoke is the messenger. So then you put them in. The right side is going to be the earth. On the right side from the altar is the right side is the earth. On the left side of the altar, this is your right side. This is heaven, and the middle side is from the water. So you say, this is the messenger for the Earth realm. I want you to reach out to all the beings in the Earth realm to help me with this and this issue. The Heaven realm, exactly the same. Water realm, exactly the same too. Yes? Then at that moment you say thanks to everybody present. If you have spirit animals that need to be recognized or allies that you need to recognize, you all recognize them. At that moment you say thank you for your presence here and for your support. My ancestors, I thank for my support, and so forth and so forth.
Great.
Yes?
Yes.
So then at that moment, after that, you go do whatever you wanted to do. At the moment when you close, then at that moment, basically what you do is you do the reverse. You will do this platform. You repeat the spiral. You make the golden dome. But then you create in your heart, you grab in your heart, instead of an arrow, you create your fingers and you open your heart. You say, I release everybody to go back to do their task.
Great, beautiful.
Yes?
That's a Taoist ritual?
That's a Taoist ritual, very basic.
Very basic. Great. Thank
Yes?
you. Yes. Ritualistic magic, huh, René?
It's ritualistic magic, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A simplified form of ritual is what people call affirmation. Affirmation is very often a selfish programming of yourself because you want to have success or anything like that. That is not the kind of language that you have in a ritual. You can say like, oh, okay, I pray every day to the divinity that I worship or whatever I believe in, whatever you want to say is. And I'm going to pray for my new luxury car. I want to have an electrical car that is actually going to be given to me for free because I'm such a nice person. And I pray for that every day until it manifests itself. Manifestation, of course, as a law doesn't really exist. Of course, there's people who dream of something, but they know it's already in the pipeline. So at the moment and when it actually happens, you see, my manifestation works. But in reality, of course, manifestation works in different kind of ways. For instance, you're obsessing about losing your partner in life, and as a result of that, you lose your partner in life. So that's manifestation. Very simple. Of course, it works in the reverse. If you're going to be ritually nice to a particular kind of person, they're going to think more positively about you, and as a result, that they're more willing to support you and to help you. Like, I'm nice to you. I'm a very cynical person by nature, but I'm nice to you. And I hope, of course, therefore, that you sign up for my channel. Maybe you become part of my learning program. Maybe you will sign up through the form in the commentaries for the research program that is not going to start yet. So the campaign for that still has to happen. This is just my preparatory studies. And maybe you want to sponsor my program one way or the other. What my work is about at this moment is about showing people how to survive without all these products. Yes. So if you think that people should help to alleviate their own poverty because of the things that I teach, that will be great. So then at that moment you have a good reason to sponsor. But if you sponsor actually other people to do it much cheaper than they can actually afford. So if you want to alleviate your own poverty and you want to start a new career, then also this program is great for you. That's the Taoist point of view. Taoism is about supporting as many people for as little money as possible, like learning about ritual. So, within the Taoist perspective, knowledge can be ritualized, right? So at the moment when you're learning something and you are repeating that in the form of a prayer, then at that moment you're ritualizing particular kind of knowledge and you learn to place yourself within that. So there's particular kind of prayers like the morning prayer. These are meditations where you are engulfing yourself in particular kind of things. So by doing these things in Chinese makes no sense if you don't speak Chinese, because then you have no idea what you're doing. You just create a very happy feeling about yourself, but that is not the purpose of the meditation. You're not going to be listened to by a God because you're saying something in Chinese. You're going to be listened to by a God because of your intention. So this is basically the core of what ritual is all about. Ritual is about sharing your intention with the world through particular kind of repetitive actions. And these repetitive actions, they can take all kind of forms. Within Taoism, there are two kinds of rituals. There's the act of sincerity through state ritual. That means that you're doing something that is actually supporting the state, like the things that Taoists nowadays present to the world. These are state rituals. So all the beautiful garbs and all the beautiful movements and so on. The modern Tai trend that is coming from places like Wudang Mountain and other places of China, that are all state redirected, re-engineered, so to say, that are allowing people with a very brief training to become a teacher or an instructor. That these kind of things, these are state-sanctioned activities which are done on a repetitive basis. The economy behind that, of course, is also repetitive and also therefore is a ritualized form of making money. And in some cases that works really very good because they have the right tone. And like in my case, I'm way too serious, so it is more difficult to sell the quality of my products as a sales product. I can only try to convince you by sharing with you true knowledge, and as a result that hoping that you appreciate yourself enough that you think like, oh, let's give it a try. This is enough advertisement in that sense, right? But the ritual on the other side is developing sincerity through an individualized ritual. So that means it basically focusing on your sincerity. And this is what this video is all about. And this is what is important. At the moment, when you go into a ritual, you are making a statement basically about what you want or where you want to dedicate yourself to. I make my videos every week as a ritual because I have this dedication to my education program, and I also have a dedication to the activism behind it. And I am taking, because I'm a little bit stupid, I take a long time to formulate myself in a way that is going to be helpful. Simple rituals we're going to talk about also a little bit later. We're going to give an example of how to do that. What is most important at this moment is that we talk about these different aspects of ritual, about what we want to achieve with it. So let's first talk about the situation where we are at, where we need a ritual or where we can use a ritual to improve our health or our personality or our relationship with the world as a whole. And as you know, the world is asymmetrical, so things do not resolve themselves linearly. It is not like, oh, we're going to do something and then gradually over time things become better. No, things become better this way, right? Things become better this way. So there's an amplitude in going good, going bad, and so forth and so forth. And change is gradual. And at the moment when you look back, you can see like, hey, actually things changed and they became better on average. So this here is a basic setup for an extensive ritual. There are here 9 lamps. I will take off 2 because we're going to do a ritual for only 7 lamps. And there's an extensive one for Taoists with 9 lamps, but this one is not going to happen right now. I'm going to explain a little bit more about these different lamps in a moment. There is the lamp for the yin and there is the lamp for the yang, or the yin and the yang depending on how you want, depending on whose perspective you look at. This is the perspective of Lao Jun and Zhen Wu. Oh, I see my kids have touched my Zhen Wu statues. These are actually different periods. This one is 19th century. This one is also 19th century. It's a wood statue from an early form of Zhen Wu, Xuan Wu, and this one is a ceramic one. These were carried around with prayers inside. Look, the inside is hollow, and crystals and all kind of other gemstones to do all kind of things. And it's the same actually for the Lao Jun. The Lao Jun is also hollow on the inside and also would be filled with gemstones and all kind of other things. That's a separate ritual. This happens to be a Buddhist bodhisattva that I picked up somewhere in the past, and this is a Guan Yin, and these are the god, tiger god and the dragon god that are actually protecting the altar. This is my outside altar. The back side here is calligraphy that my Shifu Yashwanda wrote for me a long time ago by now. So this is the setup for my outside room. The front of the room, I have a carpet here. This is the prenatal pakwa, and it has around here, it has different kind of star combinations. belonging to the different pakwa from the prenatal heaven. Of course, it would be better to have a postnatal one because that would fit in with the 9 steps of a U, and I can't do that one here. On the altar further, there's offering, there's rice, there's water, and there's tea. This one happens to be a little bit dirty because it was here next to the altar. This is regular sand, and the last time when there was offering in this, there was offered by one of my children, and she put the incense a little bit crooked, and the dust fell off in my water bowl, so it's a little bit dirty. So let's get into this a little bit further. So let us talk about the starting point where you are at a ritual, and that means that you have to give a description. A good start to make a description is to do a I Ching counseling on yourself or on somebody at the moment when you're a ritualist in service of other people. Like people come to me for rituals, and in that case you are going to ask me questions to figure out what is their situation. So say people are unclear about their life situation. The recording that you just saw from my altar as I set it up is specifically for the ritual we're going to perform today. What I'm going to explain to you, we're not going to really perform it, but it's going to be explained to you. And this is based on the question, like, what are we going to do with our life? Where is it going to? What is strong? What is weak in my life? And where do I need to work on to get to go forward in my life? Very common question. Almost everybody goes to a counselor or a psychiatrist or anything like that for this simple reason, but you can do that yourself, as you will find out today. So I also stated now the second part. What is your desire? You want to have an improvement. You want to have clarity, something like this. So in the case that we are talking about this, like what do you want to change exactly? Well, I want to improve certain kind of things. I want to be better in my work, or I want to be a better partner in my relationships, anything like that. The next thing is, of course, that you have to define for yourself what is the reason why you think like that. What do you think is going wrong? Where is the conflict inside you that you are experiencing? Why you need a ritual, because a ritual is a learning situation. You're going to go through a repetitive action. It is not enough to do it only one time. You have to do it several times, preferably. Sometimes when you do a grand ritual that is, for a particular kind of purpose, one ritual can be enough, but usually, you have better effect if you repeat the ritual on a frequent basis, like every day. On the basis of the conflict, you also understand what you want to change. So at the moment when you see the two poles, the two opposites of each other, the place where you want to go to and the place where you come from, and the conflict between these things, that means the difference between these things. And conflict is not necessarily violent or an argument or anything like that, but it just means that there is a distance between 2 points. When you have a yin line in the I Ching, the yin line, there are 2 yin lines. They're actually 2 small yang lines. They are opposite of each other. So they are separated and they're not unified. They are in conflict. When you have a yang line, they are connected with each other. They're one big yang line and they're overlapping with each other. And as a result of that, there's no conflict. There's only one. That's why the lines are called dragons, small dragons and big dragons. Going for that, you also want to, of course, have an idea about what is the result. Of course, the result should, as much as possible, be in agreement with what you want to change. And when you want to change it, what is going to happen? So in the case of this ritual that we're going to do today, we are going to work on observing. And observing is an important part of ritual. So you have done your preparation, as we did in the first video in the car, and you have prepared yourself for the general setting in your garden, in your living room, in your bedroom. Not on your bed with candles, please, and not with closed curtains around you. Make sure everything is well ventilated and make sure everything is safe, because there's going to be fire involved, and when there's fire involved, there's always a risk. So be very careful. If you're clumsy, make sure you make your environment clumsy proof. It's amazing that you have to say this. These movies are for over 18, so you might expect that everybody is clumsy proofing themselves all the time. So you want to understand also where you want to end up with and what you can expect. Well, in general, when you perform rituals on a regular basis, you will see that it changes your general feeling about things, but it also changes your focus on things, and it will help you to get more focused, but it also will help you to reformulate your thinking. And you start thinking more in line of what you are actually doing. At the moment when you do a mantra, for instance, then at that moment when you repeat that mantra all the time, that mantra comes together with a particular kind of divinity, and it comes together with a particular way of thinking about reality. It comes with a worldview. So whether it's a Taoist mantra or whether it's a Buddhist mantra or a Hindu mantra, it doesn't really matter. They come with a worldview and they have to shape your thought. That is also where they're called mantric formulas or magical formulas. And in that sense, you are going to rewrite your thinking. So ritual also, like meditation, like learning, like talking, they're all forms of alteration of your brain content, of your thinking content, of your feeling content. And as such, you are brainwashing yourself into a direction that you really want to go to because you're not satisfied with where you are. My outside altar is circumstantial because in the evening time I have to clean up things here for teaching, so then this small altar table is gone and I therefore do not use it. The ritual that we're going to do, the origin of that, you will find in the Secret of the Polar 7 Prime Purple Quartz. This is a Taoist text which you can find in the Cloud Cover translation, chapter number 25. It is also known as a scripture of the Northern Emperor, 7 elements of prolonging life. It's a relatively interesting, no, it's actually an interesting chapter. It has to do with control over the stars. There are 3 chapters in the Cloud Cover for controlling stars, and this is the last one, and it has a few practical rituals also in there. And this is a ritual presented by Ge Shenggong, and he received it from the Supreme Lord that time, and it was in the Wei Dynasty. And Master Ye, one of his students, passed it on to the world. The Supreme Lord was able to understand the true meaning of the Northern Emperor, Xuan Wu, and reached the Purple Court, and that is the King of the North Star. So that is not the Xuan Wu itself, but the King of the Purple Star, and that is the ruler of the heavens and the earth. In some texts even called the creator. When you look at the 7 lamps, they then represent, of course, the 7 stars from the Big Dipper. In some texts, also in this chapter, it's being explained that you put them into the shape of the Big Dipper, so that you actually have a better representation of things. So this is really very interesting then in that case. There is another version of the same ritual where you put a table down for every of these lamps. Then you do an offering with these lamps to ask for correction of the errors in this lamp. But in this case, we are doing this because it is as a predictive ritual. It is showing you the weaknesses of your life positions. So the first one, number 1 here, this is the gui, the body of your life. And then the second one is your registry in life. Then the third one are the blessings and the fortunes of men and women. Then the fourth one is the Chiu, or the fate. And the gui is your official position. That's the 6th one. And then the 7th one is, the 6th one is the Xiao, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. The 6th one is for longevity, and the 7th one is for wives, concubines, and slaves. So these in the past were, of course, called the lesser human beings, and nowadays it's not anymore like that. So you could say this is now your partnership, because I think also the gods and the spirits, they have modernized and they are no longer as sexistic as they were in the past. Otherwise they would lose a lot of followers. That happened also with Tibetan Buddhism. The different lamas had to refrain from saying particular kind of things just to make sure that everything is fine. Normally you would do this in your practice room. So this is my practice room actually, so it is not so very strange that it is here. And this is called the Tao Ching. That's the hall of practice. You're going to light up these lamps and you're going to interpret the brightness of these lamps. So to do it in the dark, of course, would be much better. But let's first set up a general ritual. We're going to burn 3 incenses, one for heaven, one for earth, and one for the water realm. And your incenses are, of course, messengers. So let's keep it as simplified as possible, and let's try not to bless and purify all the different kind of subjects. That is a separate kind of ritual. You can see in the other part that we talked about before, there's a little bit more about that. The moment when you are going to do this, you first got to light the fire on the left and the right. These are the fire of the prime origin of things, the yin fire and the yang fire. The yang fire is to bring things into motion, and the yin fire is to manifest things in their form. And these are mutual generative, of course. It would be better to have these candles lighted with red candles, but I have with white candles. Let's first start with this and say this is the yin fire. So I invite the yin qi of the prime origin, the yin fire, into my altar to manifest and to do your work and say thank you for your presence here. And we do the same. We invite the yang fire of the prime origin, the yang qi, and as a result of that, we thank you for your presence to activate the activities that we are performing so that they can be performed in the best way possible and that they can lead to the right kind of results. The yin generates the yang and the yang feeds the yin. It's the same as with your body. When you do practice Qigong, your body is nourished by your exercises, and the yang, the steam, the warmth actually helps you to nourish the yin so that your body becomes stronger and can carry more. Of course, when you're very unhealthy, then of course that moment ritual can be quite exhausting. So health, of course, is a very prime subject for anything. So then at the moment when you have incense, I took these ones. These are very delicious in smell. They're flower smell. And they're not very special. They're not specially intended for a ritual, just to show you that it doesn't really matter what you use, but the flower smell is very pleasant and it is very comforting. So you first put them into the yin fire. So you burn the incense messengers, you activate them by putting them into the yin fire to manifest their form as messenger and to make clear what they are. And also you put them into the yang fire to make them receptive for the task that they have. The task that they have, in that sense, is very easy. You close them not by blowing at them, but by shaking. One messenger has to go to the earth realm to reach out to the divinities in the earth realm, to share your wishes and to ask for alliance. And then one will go into the heaven realm. And I'm telling you here specifically also that the order in which to do is not that important, but usually you start with the outside, then to the inside. Usually you would start with the heaven realm because that's the most high one, of course. And then make associations with the beings in the heaven realm and the bureaucracy so that alliance can be forged and contracts can be written to make sure that my wishes can be manifested and that they become rule and executed. And then the third in the water realm, where we want to see the execution of things working out so that they work out in relationship to the things that I want to achieve, so that all the divinities and the powers of the water realm are also becoming alliance and become friends with us. So this is one thing. Now at this moment we're going to light up the different candles, of course, but we first manifest for the messengers. The messengers take with us our offering of water, tea, and rice to create a banquet for the different realms. So please be present here on my altar and manifest yourself in your actions through what we want. And what we want at this moment, this is very simply a manifestation of where we are strong at and where we are weak at. So when we go work with this again, we open the different candles, make sure that the lids are easy to lit. It's easy to burn. We want to understand which of these aspects of ourselves are weak and which one are strong and which one we need to support further for our future development. This is for a private life manifestation or for a work life manifestation, just as you please, of course. And first of all, let's go to the body. We want to understand how the body is functioning. Then we want to understand our registry. If all our registry for everything that we do is correct, then we want to understand if we are subject to blessings and fortunes or if we are not. And that means that we are not getting much help. Then there is the chu, or the faith of our life. What is our faith like? Do we have a strong faith or a weak faith? Are we actually playing a role in the world as a whole? Then what is my official position? The Q. I think I made one candle too little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. I have made one candle too little. Then there is the Xiao, our longevity. How does all this support me in living a long life? And then, of course, my relationships. How do they support me? And how do they work for me? So now from here onward, these candles are on. You just have to see how bright they are. There was a scene in, I think, the movie Hero with Jet Li, where he is approaching the Emperor, and then you see the candles.
But who would have thought that only an assassin could truly understand the king's heart? I have endured endless questions and criticisms, assassination attempts, though no one has understood. Even those in my own court consider their king an oppressor. Yet Broken Sword, an assassin, a man I barely knew, was able to see what was in my heart. To see it so clearly. I'd like to ask you, with no sword, how do you intend to kill me? With yours.
In how they react on him to see if he is any danger or not any danger. You can see the same root of that principle here too. So at the moment when you do this, you can see on the candles if they burn brightly or not brightly. Of course, you can fool yourself by easy burning candles or anything like that, or by using another kind of burner that will burn very brightly, but you have to see that in relationship to how they are achieved. Right? So this is basically it. This is the ritual, and now you just have to wait and interpret it. At the moment then, when you see one is weak, after they have been burning for some time, usually you let them burn till the end. Of course, it is way too much for this purpose today. So I hope this information was very interesting to you, and well, if you want to know more, just sign up. You can do more, of course, over time. If you like this topic, great. If you like to do this topic also for the well-being of the world as a prediction, similar like what the I Ching actually tries to do, you can do this for anything in the world. you can apply this ritual for. So this is a very common ritual that you can do in small scale in your own house, in your own garden, or whatever kind of place, to understand where you are at that moment, and which are your weak spots and where you need to improve. Thank you.